Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Hey there, you're tuned into Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. This is a great-looking Jeep Gladiator. The owner's done just about everything to this. New suspension and tires, new interior, but they haven't touched the stereo system. And as you know, that can be kind of cumbersome. You have your stock stereo, you want to add the phone and the GPS, and that all can become a mess. But you guys at Insane Audio, Dylan, have streamlined that. How so?
So we've been in business since 2014. We're an American manufacturer. We're based out of Detroit, and we just specialize in premium touchscreen radios for off-road vehicles, but mainly Jeeps. We have a lot of features that we've integrated in our radio, such as on and off-road navigation systems. You can download a plethora of apps, and as well as have Apple and Android CarPlay.
I think you're underselling what this thing could do. Basically, the possibilities are infinite. You can load as many apps as you want to. Anything you'd load on your device, you can load on this thing. Then what about the capabilities for GPS now?
There is a card in here, and it gets updated every year. We send you one to update the previous version that you have. It does do on and off-road. So for the Jeep market, the off-road is huge. So it definitely helps them out tremendously.
And some other things that make it appealing for the off-road market, its durability. Tell me how tough this thing is.
It is waterproof.
Not water resistant?
No, correct, it's waterproof.
Okay.
It is shockproof and dustproof as well.
And the off-road maps are what make it really popular with the Jeep folks as well.
Yeah.
Then how does it fit in? I know this is what people want to know. How much do I have to cut up my dash? How much do I have to modify my vehicle to make this fit?
So the good thing about our unit is it's a perfect fit. It's also plug and play, so you don't have to splice any wires. You don't have to do any cutting. It fits right in.
Wow. So what comes with the kit here?
So you have your aftermarket harness that goes to your factory harness and then plugs into your radio. You also have an extra external mic.
And I see that there are microphone holes here.
Yes, that's an integrated mic. So you really don't have to use this, but we use it for if you have your doors off for that extra noise.
So that goes up under the dash, it hides from the wind.
Yes, and helps out tremendously.
Kind of a just-in-case accessory there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have extra USB connections. This is for your Android or Apple CarPlay, and we also include fast charge.
Excellent.
RCA cables if you want to add like amplifiers, subwoofers, stuff like that. And then we have an extra set of RCAs for if you want to do a front camera or rear camera. Your antenna adapter for your radio stations, the Wi-Fi adapter, and also your GPS antenna. And then an OBD reader that can tell you your check engine light codes, check your temperature, and things like that.
All right, very cool. And see an HDMI cable here as well?
The HDMI cable is for if you want to add like extra screens for, if you have kids, they're sitting in the back, or people that want to watch movies, things of that nature. You can also install that.
Oh, so you can integrate this with what you already have. How well does this play? Maybe you've got great speakers, you've got a really cool system, amps, subwoofers, all that stuff, and you want to integrate this with the system you already have.
It brings everything out tremendously. From my experience, it has done a great job for other vehicles to work with. If they have aftermarket stuff or even the stock stuff, it brings it out a little bit more.
And one thing I forgot to ask about, you mentioned wiring it to monitors, in the back seat so the kids can watch. How much can I download and actually store on this unit?
So whatever size SD card you can get, you can download and save pretty much anything. There's no limit.
Whatever fits on the card, you can carry a bunch of cards with you and you can have movies all day long.
Yes.
Very cool. Let's talk about installation. What's that process like?
So the installation process is about 30 minutes. It doesn't take long at all because of the perfect fit and the harness already being attached. So it's plug and play, so it's about a 30-minute install process.
And how's that process go?
There's a dash piece that you have to take off, and it's held in by 4 screws, the radio. So you just remove that, undo the connections, plug these new connections in, and put it back in, and that's pretty much it.
Simple as that. And what about hooking up all the other cables to it?
For these cables, depending on what you want to add, on the back of the radio here, you have these connections, ports right here, that these plug into. And this is for your main power, and then you have your GPS and your Wi-Fi adapters as well.
What kind of instructions am I getting from Insane Audio to do all this?
The instructions, you can find them online. It gives you step-by-step process on what to do and how to take your dash apart. It's pretty self-explanatory, and it's very easy to do.
That's sort of the moral of the tale here. It's super easy to do. It's going to streamline everything in your vehicle, and it's really going to upgrade your ride. Check them out at insaneaudio.com. This thing is really cool. We'll be back with more cool stuff right after this here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. The Last Coat cleans, shines, and protects. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. And by NHOU Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, keeps rolling along, and we're glad you came along for the ride. If you're a performance enthusiast or a racer, we know you love adding power to your vehicle. That means a supercharger or a turbocharger, Ryan. But there's some unintended consequences now. Once you've added all that power, you might have some trouble, and you've solved those problems.
That's right. So if you're adding a turbocharger to your car, when you're going to your local drag strip, you're trying to get into the staging beams, you have to be able to control your car when you're in those beams. So typically when you have a turbocharger, you're trying to spool up your turbo to make more power, that way you can launch. One of the problems is you'll push right through the foot brake if you're using your foot brake. So that's why they invented the trans brake transmission. And the trans brake, essentially, you're in first gear and it locks in reverse at the same time, and then that acts as your brake when you're lining up the pre-staged beams. But then you got to move forward that next 7 to 8 inches to move up to the staging beams, and that can be difficult because some of the products that are out there will bump you forward. And when you do that, you don't know where your suspension is going to be.
I've seen years ago when the Pro Mods first started using the trans brakes, they'd sit there pre-stage, they started to bump in. It looked like they were taking these giant chunks and it looked like they were doing dry hops.
Yep.
It was a mess. And like you said, their suspension then, if it unloads in the wrong spot, you've got the rear wheels off the ground and you're no traction back there and you're in trouble.
That's right. That's right. When light goes green, you don't know where your weight distribution is going to be. So we created the Smooth Stage, which has a proprietary staging algorithm that pulses the trans brake solenoid, allows you to slip in nice and slow right in from the pre-stage beam to the staging beam. That way your suspension is not upset. And then when the light does turn green, you know where your weight distribution is going to be, and then you can take off how you want your vehicle to launch.
So the way it pulses, am I understanding right, it's kind of like anti-lock brakes for your trans brake?
Yeah, you can think of it like that. It allows you to slip right in there to the staging beam.
Super cool. Sounds like a must-have.
Yeah, definitely is.
That's what launched your business, so to speak.
Yep.
And then moving up here, this is the next thing you came up with.
Once that product was out there, kept getting messages from people, hey, we need something like that for the Mustang platform. So the 6R80 6-speed transmission is out there, and for the 11 through 17 model year, we created the True Motorsports 6R Stager. 6R Stager combines the trans brake functionality with the staging algorithm from the Smooth Stage to allow guys or gals that are running a turbocharger on their Mustang, be able to allow them to now stage at the drag strip. And what we've also done is the newer Mustangs have a 10-speed transmission, the 10R80, and that's a new platform that we're going after with our brand new product, the 10R Stager, that allows people with a 2018 or above Mustang or a truck to have a turbocharger and be able to stage it at the racetrack as well.
Making it super easy and really affordable.
Yep.
Now, we talked about adding power to your car.
Yep.
So when you add a supercharger or a turbocharger, you're throwing air into the equation.
Yep.
But now you've got a problem because you're not adding fuel to that mixture.
Yep.
There's another problem you've solved. How so?
Yep. So when you're delivering more air to the equation there, you also got to add more fuel. So one of the problems in some of these factory fuel systems, they kind of have a certain ceiling. When they're running 14 volts to the fuel pump, they can't deliver any more fuel. You're going to hit a certain horsepower level where you're not going to be able to deliver enough fuel. So one of the things you can do, you can spend lots of money on a brand new fuel system, or you can then raise the ceiling of that 14 volt threshold. You can bump that up to 18 volts using our Voodoo Booster product line, which boosts the voltage going to your fuel pump from 14 volts to 18 volts.
All right, Ryan, let's see what it's like to install the plug-and-play harness here. We'll do it in the trunk here of the Mustang.
The 11 through 14 Mustang, the plug-and-play harness goes right where the fuel pump driver module is and located in the trunk of the vehicle. You're 15 and above, the fuel pump driver module is located under the back seat of your car. So it's extremely easy. You find the fuel pump driver module and you just unplug the factory wire harness, and then you take our plug-and-play harness, goes right in there, plugs directly in. Once you have that installed, then you take the Voodoo booster and you plug that directly in, and then you connect it to the ground lug that's located right next to the fuel pump driver module.
And that's it, just a couple of minutes and you've solved that problem. What if you don't want to drive around with your fuel pump at 18 volts the entire time?
Yep. For people that are afraid that their fuel pump's going to die because they're not running at 14 volts, they're running at 18 volts all the time. What's great on the Mustang platform is the fuel pump driver module actually regulates the speed of the pump. But if you don't want to rely upon that, we also have a Hobbs switch, which is connected to your intake manifold pressure. And once it detects boost, it actually triggers the voltage booster to drive that voltage from 14 volts up to 18 volts when you're going down the track. So that way, when you're driving around the town, you're not at 18 volts.
Well, it's easy and it's affordable to add tons of power to your vehicle. Just check them out at truemotorsports.com. Thanks, Ryan. And thank you for tuning in to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, here from our new studio. We've got a great segment, though, from our old studio coming up, one that was really in demand, and we think you'll like it, so stay tuned.
Dorman is committed to quality engineering, and when it comes to electronic steering, we are grateful for that. But before we talk about this phenomenal rack and pinion unit that's electronic, let's go through the evolution of steering systems. Now, we can look at this first one here. It's the old parallelogram steering system. On your heavy trucks and heavy cars, everybody's pretty familiar with that. And then we went to a regular rack and pinion unit. Now, after that rack and pinion unit, we still stuck basically with the rack and pinion, but we went electro-hydraulic. So we used some hydraulic fluid that didn't need as much amps to drive the steering back and forth. And then we went to the full electronic. Now the first one you see, the full electronic, that one's actually up on the column. And now we're actually down here on the rack itself. How does it work? Well, it's pretty cool. You actually have right here a steering angle sensor and a torque sensor, sometimes built into the column, sometimes built into the rack. But the deal is you're turning to the left or right, and when you're turning to the left or right, you're telling the computer how far you're turning and how much force you want to use in that turn. That's relaying a message down to your rack. That's why it's so important Dorman installs all this quality engineering into this rack and pinion unit. Now, a lot of the factory units, they're actually susceptible to moisture intrusion, and they have debris intrusion, and it causes a lot of damage inside of the racks. Well, Dorman fixed that, and this rack actually comes with proprietary information for fast and free setup. You just take the actual OBED 2 connector, plug it into the OBED 2 connector below the port there, bam, you're programming it. That saves a massive amount of time and money, and the dealership replacement, especially when it comes to the programming, they're gonna have to charge you all that money. You have it all right at your fingertips here with Dorman. This is quality tested to meet the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. So when you have to replace your rack or you want to replace your rack, make sure you check Dorman first. With any part, as a matter of fact, check Dorman first because they have quality OE fixes that we can all use. Hey, I'm John Gardner for Dorman Products. We'll see you next time.
Bendpak is always helping us out here at Motorhead Garage. In a few weeks, we're going to get some new lists from them, and we can't wait for that. But the thing I am really excited about is this right here. This is the CB30, the Cool Boss. It's an evaporative cooler, better known as a swamp cooler. It's a great way to keep cool both indoors and outside, and it's a great way to save money on the old air conditioning bill. We've used it a bunch here already. We've been working outside, and we've done a ton of work getting our new studio ready, and much of that time we had 85 degrees outside with no air conditioning. That is no fun. Thank goodness for the Cool Boss. The Cool Boss uses ordinary tap water combined with forced air. All I know is it feels great, but Bendpak says the Cool Boss can lower air temperatures by as much as 26 degrees. Yep, it's perfect when you don't have air conditioning, but if you do have AC, it's a fantastic way to save on your bill. Believe it or not, the Cool Boss only costs about $1 a day to operate. There's no other fan that can keep up with the output of the Cool Boss, and there's no HVAC system you can run for just $1 a day. Typically, when outdoor temperatures rise, conventional air conditioners become less efficient and way more expensive. But the Cool Boss air cooler is not an air conditioner, so it doesn't have any high-cost amp compressor motors. And as a bonus, there are no environmentally toxic chemicals and refrigerants to mess with, and no ducting to install. Just fill a high-capacity reservoir up with water from your tap, or you can connect your garden hose to the unit, and it'll fill automatically. Then you just plug it in and let it rip. The Cool Boss has a control panel with an easy-to-read display, It even comes with a remote control which lets you choose one of 3 speeds. And I like this. The Cool Boss has louvers that you can toggle on and off. Perfect if you're covering a large area. You can sweep that cool air from side to side. And one more thing, when you turn on the negative air ionizer, it causes dust and debris to stick to the walls and the floor so you don't have to breathe in all that nasty stuff. We love our Cool Boss Swamp Cooler, and you're going to love it too. You can check it out at bendpak.com. Stay cool, because there's more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings and more cool gear for your vehicle coming up right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Sundown Audio, innovative world-class car audio. Tactical Off-Road, the adventure awaits. Mouse Blocker, protecting your vehicle from little things that cause big problems. And by Dorman Products, driving new solutions.
Brian Hansen's the head engineer at Tribotex. He's back with us. And Brian, once again, we've gone to the mailbag to see what folks are asking about Tribotex. We're back to the basic question we get all the time, but it gets asked all the time. Is Tribotex safe in my car?
Yes, it is safe for any car. You can add any oil and it works in any engine.
And you get a lot of people, you say that they want to try it on something that's not going to hurt as much as putting it in your car, right?
Yeah, a lot of people try us out in their lawnmower and they're so blown away by the performance they end up putting it in their car, their wife's car, and that's how we end up upselling our products.
But you don't have to do the research yourself, because these guys actually have it on their website.
Yeah, we actually have all of our scientific papers on our website. We've worked with national laboratories and we've been proven in many other engineering labs and are currently being tested in some very large companies right now.
NASA?
NASA actually gave us a spin-off. They published us this last year. So if you type in Tribotex NASA, you will find us on the internet.
These guys are the real deal. How much should we use in any engine at any given time?
Okay, that's a good question. A lot of people have different sized engines and it's hard to find a product that's just right. Our Tribotex Original, which is this middle-sized one, is really good for anything between like a 2-liter and a 6-liter engine. It's a little thin on the bigger side or a little heavy on the small engines, but it's totally fine for all of that. Any excess will just drain out with your oil and it will build up as much as you need. If you don't have enough, we have a satisfaction guarantee. Hit us up, we might give you another tube for you. And also, if you have a small engine like below 2-liter, we have a Tribotex Mini, which is often great for 4-wheelers, motorcycles, snowmobiles, lawnmowers. These things are great for small cars. So I got a Toyota Prius that I race. My Tribotex Mini works great.
We talk about oil. There's all kinds of oils out there, and for cars that have been around for a while, there is the high mileage oil.
Yeah.
Should I use that for my older vehicle when I'm using Tribotex?
You can use any oil, but we recommend using just a normal oil. Now, high mileage oils have special additives in it, which can compete with Tribotex nanoparticles. The Tribotex nanoparticles are going to be superior to those particles that you're going to find in your oils.
And I saw a few people writing in asking when they should add Tribotex. Is it every fill up, every oil change? How often?
I recommend using it after an oil change. Get a fresh set of oil and blend the Tribotex with a quart of oil to get it to disperse quicker into the engine. When you add it to your engine, you need to run it for about 500 miles at least. Give it a couple thousand better, and then it will stay in your engine for over 40,000 miles.
Well, Tribotex is going to make your engine perform better. It's going to actually repair your older engines, and it's going to make your car last longer. Check them out at Tribotex.com.
Time now for the lowdown with Magic Creeper.
We have told you about the uses of Magic Creeper. They're infinite. They're only limited by your imagination. The Magic Creeper is useful around the house. Now, we use it to get under the sink, doing some plumbing. You can put a towel under there. You can put an ironing board. That's a great trick they always teach you in the handyman magazines. You're going to break your ironing board if you do that, by the way, and it's not all that comfortable. Use the Magic Creeper when you're getting under the sink. It's going to cushion your back. It's going to make it easier to slide in and out from that space. You can also use the Magic Creeper as a kneeling pad. Use it around the house to do hardwood floors. Use it to get stuff down low. Use it when you're cleaning. And of course, the Magic Creeper was designed and intended for the automotive world, so you can take it in your car with you. If you have trouble by the side of the road, the Magic Creeper is going to make it easy for you to kneel down, change that tire without getting dirty. It's going to make it easy on your knees. on the side of the road, there's often glass, there's dirt, there's gravel. That makes it really tough to kneel, and squatting for that long is really a pain, especially when you're trying to lift a tire. So use the Magic Creeper. It'll take the stress off your knees. It'll save your clothes. It'll save your day. If you're savvy enough to make some fixes under the car or do an inspection under the vehicle, the Magic Creeper is great for that too. Just roll it out, and there's zero ground clearance. That means the Magic Creeper gets you right down on the ground, not like an old-fashioned creeper that has the casters and you don't have a whole lot of room under the car. Once you're under there, the Magic Creeper can move forward and back, side to side, glides along any surface, any rough surface, any smooth surface. The Magic Creeper is going to be your hero, and when you're done, cleans up super easily. Just use your favorite spray cleaner and you are good to go. Wrap it up, throw it in the car, throw it behind your seat, throw it under the seat, or throw it in the trunk. The Magic Creeper goes wherever you go, and it can get you out of a tough spot. Check out the authentic Magic Creeper at magiccreeper.com. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. I've put the Dauber Cruiser out for the evening, going to take off in style here. We're going to do this again next week. We hope you join us then. In the meantime, you can check out our Facebook page, see what we're up to. And if you've got a cool idea, a cool invention or product you want to see on the show, email Jeff at masterstv.com. From our entire crew here at our Motorhead Garage studio, we'll see you next week on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. So long.